see dope people.
Welcome back to another episode of Dope People. I am your host, Brooklyn's favorite Polymath, Hayden Green, and today we have another dope person that I'm going to be interviewing, which is the whole point of this show. I interview people that I think are dope. So for those of you who didn't grow up in the 80s or 90s or whatever, dope just simply means somebody I think is amazing or somebody who is doing amazing things. And so today I have a very special guest, a judge. So I've got to, tighten up and be proper. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Judge Beverly Tatham.
Hey, twin.
Hi, twin. Beverly and I share a birthday. That's my birthday twin. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I am taking it as it comes to me. It is a wonderful time in New York. I'm wearing my New York, all the different teams in New York because we're having a great sports moment in New York right now, except for the Jets.
I
Who
know what you mean.
Who knows where they'll be by the time this airs? But right now, we're having a good time with sports in New York.
I hear you. Usually it's such a difficult time or difficult to be a New York fan, but you all are having a moment. So,
Yes,
and I have a diehard New York Jets fan in my house who's devastated every Sunday.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. That's a whole other podcast. So, Beverly, we start this podcast by really getting a sense of what you consider to be dope, trying a litmus test of how you consider people, what dopeness is for you. So, Beverly, tell me who is the dopest person that you have ever met or somebody that you actually know.
Okay. So, I think I would, if one of the dopest person I've met is you.
Oh, wait, nope. X on the
Yes,
play.
yes,
Not doing this.
I am. I do admire you. I've admired you for the longest time. I've watched the evolution of Hayden M. Green, and
Wow.
I have to say, I remember when you were back at a college student to a young man finding himself to being a dad and a polymath and just an incredible talent and creative, and we share a birthday, and so I am inspired by you because you do a lot of the things that I think I have inside of me, but I just don't have the capacity, and you are just living your best life, doing all the things and being really good at it. So yeah, you.
I will graciously accept that. I am out here just trying to figure out my world and throwing stuff up against the wall and make sure it sticks. So funny thing that I talked to a friend of mine's, and my whole penchant this last couple of iterations is about being a polymath, because we get told so often, like, pick a thing and do that thing and be good at that thing and focus on that thing. And I don't have the capacity to do that. Focusing is not my forte, right? So I am really about just doing everything that makes me happy, right? And just making sure that if today I want to crochet, then I'm gonna go crochet, right? If today I want to pick up my camera and go shoot outside, then I'm gonna go do that. And just doing things that make us happy. And I think that that's really an important way to live life. And I thank you for recognizing that.
Yeah. I do. I absolutely do. And it resonates with me, because I think that's the joy of living, right? Is to do the things that make you feel happy and full. And then when you are good at a lot of different things, and your things you seem to have a really great way of connecting all of these things. You speak well, you're a poet, you've got a podcast, you do photography, you can cook. I'm watching. I'm not lurking. I'm watching. I'm taking note, and you are inspiring.
Hey, listen, the judge said so, so it must be so, right? So thank you so much, Bev. But now I get to tell you what I think is dope about you. So whereas you are all talking about the stuff that I have done, listen, you had a career change, right? Like, when we were coming up in college, it was you were doing one thing, and I forget what your career was, but you decided to go back to law school, right? And I remember the days, and you may have put this into the back of your mind because it's like those unpleasant memories. I remember you going to law school, and I remember law school kicking your butt. And I remember you just like, I don't know why I made this decision to do this thing. And I know a lot of people who have started law school did not finish. I know a lot of people who started on their PhD journey and have not finished. But you stuck it out. And I watched you and I was like, look at Beverly go. That's my girl right there. Look at Beverly go. Because I knew it wasn't easy for you. And I knew everything that you were juggling between Zeta and life and going to school and everything. It was stressing you out, but you never gave up. And that inspired me. And that was like, I love seeing that. I love that you were facing the difficulty. And more importantly, we're not afraid to say, this is not easy for me. We're not afraid to say, here's where I'm having some difficulty, right? Because
Yeah.
what that does when you have a supportive community is gathers people around you and props you up when you need it. But a lot of
Yeah.
people are afraid to say that. It's like, oh, here's a thing that I'm not very good at. And people are like, oh, well, that's a sign of weakness. No, that's a sign for your community to mobilize and to help you. And I admired you for that. And look at you now. Like, you like after once you got through law school, it was off to the races, and that has always been inspiring to me. And that thing right there is what makes you dope to me.
That is another reason why I think you're super dope, because not a lot of people, I don't think I've ever had a friend discuss that with me. I traveled 2 hours each day to go to law school. I worked a full time job to go to law school. So we're talking about I'm up at 5 in the morning, traveling to get to class for 8. I leave at 1. I It's like bumper to bumper traffic going each direction. To get to work, I work a full time job, and then I have to come home and read 200 pages of some of the most boring, dense things, and then have to do it again. And you are correct. I struggled, and then I was like, I can't do this in 4 years. I got to do this in less time. So I went to summer school and a winter session just to graduate early. So I appreciate that. Thank you for seeing that. Thank you for holding space for that, because that was one of the most difficult experience I've had. And it's because I'm just not a quitter why I ended up finishing that, because I had plenty of reasons why this is too much.
Yeah, yeah.
I appreciate that.
No, absolutely. And so one of the greatest things that I've read, and you see it all the way around, is that I'm never in competition with you because I want all of us to succeed. And so you can't be in competition with me because I want to see you do well. And we all came up together as contemporaries. And it's
Yeah.
always wonderful to see the same people that you were partying with in school and hanging out and chilling and going to Freaknik and Greek Fest and this and that and the other, then turn around and really take that next adult step, because we've all seen it where people get stuck in one point in their life and never take that next step to become men, become women, become members of society. So it's always wonderful to see that.
Thank you. And I attribute that to our, our mentors, our role models. Most of us are of Caribbean background, so those role models are actually our parents, who have instilled really good core values. Work ethic. The rewards come through the labor, and so, I'm so proud of my peers and what we have done with our lives, because to your point, there are a lot of people who just did not get to see the things that they wanted to do because of various different reasons, some their own, some not their own fault. But I'm truly blessed that we all have done remarkably well for ourselves.
Yes, I agree. All right, so Beverly, we're going to take a short break, and when I come back, I want to hear what makes you dope. All right, so we'll be back in 2 and 3.
I see dope people.
And welcome back to Dope People. I am your host, Hayden Green. Brooklyn's favorite polymath. Maybe Queens has one that they like, or maybe the Bronx has one that they like, but I'm Brooklyn's. And today we have Judge Beverly here. And Beverly, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to do this with me. But right now, I want to hear what dope things you're doing.
So, I think if the one thing that I am doing that's dope is I am represented. I'm representative on the bench. I think I'm representative of my community, and I interface with a myriad of things that occur in people's lives, that oftentimes have them at their worst moments. And I do think. My lived experience, my proximity to their lived experience helps them to navigate the judicial court system, much more comfortably, and without additional trauma, as we like to call it, when they interface with the criminal court system. Outside of that, I think just one of the dope things I'm getting to do is I am getting to care for the woman who is the sole reason for why I am the person that I am today. It was a challenge at first to watch your parent, your role model, your superhero get old,
Yeah.
right? Older, I should say. Everything is different. They walk different, they talk different, they process things different. And I was starting to get depressed about it and maybe even a little resentful about it. Was like, what's happening? Why are you not doing these different things? Because, you're trying to tell someone who's born in the 40s that they need to do crossword puzzles and they need to speak to a therapist and all this other stuff. And she's not into that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
decided to reframe and reimagine this opportunity, because that's really what it is. It is an opportunity to engage with my mother and to give back to someone who's given a lot to me. Some of it she didn't even have to give, really. I'm not really sure where she got it, but to make things happen for me, to create opportunity and space for me to have all of this wonderful opportunity, this beautiful life that I've lived. And so I am getting to know this new person, and I'm hopeful that our interactions and the things that I am doing with her is bringing more joy to her life, and is showing, the level of gratitude and appreciation that I have for her, uh, irrespective of which version of her I'm interacting with.
Yeah, that's real. As we get older, our parents get older. That's a weird thing, right? Like, and then it turns out that we become the parents in the relationship. My mother and I, we yell at we, we yell at each other all the time because I'm like, you got to do this, and she's like, I'm your mom. I was like, yes, but you're acting like a teenager. It's like we got to come to some sort of terms,
Yeah,
but to be able to make that mental switch and really recognizing that this is a different relationship, a different way of looking at your parental relationship is something that a lot of us don't get to do. And I've seen a lot of people just go really, really far left when it comes to their relationship, and then the person passes on and you don't get that chance to really remember some of those good times that you had with them. For me right now,
yeah,
I am siphoning off all of the information that I possibly can from my mother. I'm like, tell me everything, right? Let me write this stuff down. And so
yeah.
I'm very happy to hear that you have that relationship with your mom.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it is an incredible thing, and they don't prepare you for this. So, again, I attribute that to having good friends, this circle of this community that I have. I've just about every one of my girlfriend has buried a parent, and I've helped them do that.
Yeah.
And in some of my, I guess, weaker moments, they've been like, "Hey, you're the only one that really has your mom left.
Yeah.
This is not the time for that," and really kind of opening my eyes. And then me having to kind of really sit with myself and say, okay, so this is who she is, this is the relationship, and how can we elevate that experience so that, the one thing I want is when and if, because she may outlive me, right? That I have no regrets. I think
Yeah.
if you have no regrets, like you've done everything you can, may not necessarily be travel the world and all those other things, but you have made the moments count and you take an opportunity to do that, then when all is said and done, I think it makes that easier for you, right? It makes that transition easier for you. And so that's really what my goal has been. My mother's incredibly resilient. I think I get that from her. She's super self-aware. I think I'm super self-aware. So we have our moments when we go to our separate corners and we come back and we're like, my bad. I'm having a bad day. And
Yes,
so we have
yes.
a really great relationship. So that's one of the dopest things I think I'm getting to do in this present moment. And thank you for
Awesome.
asking.
Now, listen, make the moments count. I think is the best way to sum that up. Well, we end each one of our podcasts with a dope moment in history. And for you, I had to bring something that had to do with the judicial branch. And so in 1966 was the first black woman was the first time that a black woman was appointed to the judicial branch, a federal judicial branch. Do you know what the name of that woman is? I love stumping my guests.
19 when?
1966.
66.
Can I do it? Can I stump the Beverly?
I think you might.
All right, I'll put you out of your misery. Her name was Constance Baker Mosley. Constance Baker Mosley was the first black woman to be appointed as a federal judge, and in fact, she was a clerk for Thurgood Marshall during the Brown versus the Board of Education trial. So that is
Just
the.
stumped me.
I
You
love doing
stumped
that.
me and you educated me today, so that's good. I learned something new today.
So so that I think is a dope moment in history, and I'm happy that I was able to bring that to the show. Beverly, if people are looking for you, and they want to find you or ask you a question or find out more about you, whether it's what you're doing or what you talked about, or maybe some of that stuff that you do with the Arcanex, because we didn't even talk about that, where can they find you?
Well, you can find me on social media. It's me, Susie Q. That's a whole nother other story. Or you can connect with me through BK Zetas on all social media platforms for our youth. If you follow the Atlantic Region Zetas on Instagram and on Facebook, we are getting ready to do a session or a segment on elder care, and I will be speaking about that and just about caregivers and caregivers wellness. So if that's something you're interested in, stay tuned for that.
And you hold a regional position in Zeta Phi Beta, don't you?
I do. I am the Atlantic Regional Director, and so I'm charged with oversight of the membership and programming. And so I try to bring some of the kitchen table issues that I know as, a 20-something-year-old woman I face daily, and my other sorors do, and also trying to ensure that we stay focused on our mission, which is amplifying the extraordinary power of social health, and economic justice. And so please follow us at Atlantic Region Zetas on social media on Facebook and Instagram. We'd love to have you join our community so you can be exposed to some of the wonderful things that we're doing in Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated.
That is awesome. That is awesome. And we'll get all of that up in the show notes and at the end of the episode. Beverly, thank you so much for joining us. For those of you who have other people who also should be on the show, feel free to reach out to me and say, hey, Hayden, you should interview this person. In the meantime, like, subscribe, save, share, put this out as far as you can, as far and wide. Make sure that everybody hears about the dope things that are happening with Beverly and the rest of my guests. But until that time, we will catch up with you later. Thank you so much, Beverly, and go forth and be dope.